Well, very good afternoon, everybody, and warm welcome to episode number 6 of Akitb Balearics, where myself and Martin Makepeace have a look at Balearic football through the eyes of Real Mallorca. Of course, we'll be playing in La Liga 2 this year, into Segunda B, which we'll come on to very soon. It's going to be very confusing. But we are talking Atlético Balear and Udi Poblense from here. Over on the island of Ibiza, the White Isle, we have Udi Ibiza and Peña Deportivo. We also talk a little bit of local football too, and we've got a couple of really good local stories that I thought we'd start with this week. Martin, first of all, how are you?
Good morning, Richie. Congratulations, half a dozen. Just a half a dozen, mate. You know,
It's a bit worried. Hang on, it's a bit worried that you're in the morning and I'm in the afternoon. I mean, how does that work? But you're only across the water, huh?
Good afternoon, Richie. I've just kind of woken up, as you can probably see.
He just woke up. Here you go. It's a busy time right now in Ibiza. You can tell.
The siesta is a very important part of the Spanish lifestyle, Richie. I don't think we should be discussing not having a siesta.
Every time I see you, Mark, you've got your feet up crossed. So you're not really doing a lot of work, are you? Let's face it. Come on.
It's very tough doing nothing these days, Rich, as we know.
It is, particularly now. Anyway, yeah, a couple of really good, I think, local stories. First of all, Marco Asensio, who you remember came up through the ranks here in Mallorca, played for a local club here, Playa de Calvia, went to Real Mallorca, a young boy. We talked about him a few weeks ago, I seem to remember. And then went to Real Madrid and about a £3.5 million transfer. Back over here doing a bit of pre-season this week at Son Biblioni, which is the training camp at Real Mallorca. So I was all of a sudden I'm thinking, hang on a minute, he's coming back on loan. Be fantastic, but unfortunately, he was just here to do a bit of pre-season. They were called back into pre-season training themselves on Monday.
Yeah, and I saw Asensio. I mean, it's great that he's giving back to Mallorca, or even just coming back, really, mate, isn't it? Because he's probably one of the best players we've ever produced in the Balearics, isn't he? I know that's a big sweeping statement.
I'd say so. I would say so, actually.
The standard that he plays at, I mean, he's a shoo-in now in the national selection, isn't he? So, he's at that level as well. So to see him come back in Mallorca, it must give the kids over there a massive lift.
Yeah, fab. And I did sort of say on my blog this week, he's been, kind enough to sign a shirt for my boys. He did that a couple of years ago. He's a very down-to-earth kid. He loves, his home life. He's very close to his family. He's very close to his friends that he grew up with in school, play football with, etc. And, he comes back here as many times as he can, which, I think is great to see, and hopefully one day towards the end of his career, he'll come back and play for Mallorca as well. Another good local story, I think, is a guy called Carlos Vicens that I'm sure many of you probably out there haven't heard of, and I'd never heard of him till I read this story this week. Carlos Vicens was an academy director and assistant manager at Club Deportivo Losetense, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Losetense.
Yeah. Quite a small club here on the island. But in 2017, he went off to Manchester City to start coaching the under-12s and under-13s. He got promoted to second in command at the under-18 level. And he's just been promoted to become the first team coach at the under-18s. And basically at Manchester City, that's really sort of the third team. You've got the first team with Guardiola, the second team is, the sort of under-23s, whatever they call them, and then the under-18 team. So he's done really, really well for himself. And, strangely enough, as things happen here in Mallorca, he's got a relative of a friend of mine that I know. So we have asked if it's going to be at all possible if we could get him on the blog, which would be fantastic if we could, to find out. Because I know your boy's a big Man City fan, isn't he?
Yeah, and something, we spoke about Messi to Man City last week. I mean, Man City, if you look at all their backroom staff and most of their kind of people in the background, they're all Spanish, aren't they? Because obviously Pep has brought his team with them. But I mean, for a local lad from Mallorca to under-18 Man City, that's one of the most important jobs at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and probably, arguably, the second, third, or fourth richest club in the world, isn't it? So one, he's been getting some decent money there. Well done, Carlos. And secondly, he's going to be bringing on the stars of the future. I mean, I presume he's with Foden. I presume he was with Garcia. I presume he was bringing on all these youngsters through as well. So he's actually bringing on the next generation of English and international players as well. So massive job, and hopefully we'll speak to him soon.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So listen, this week, Real Mallorca, the fixtures were out for La Liga 2. Well, they released, obviously, La Liga fixtures first. Balearic hasn't, unfortunately, got any teams in La Liga this year, but we have in La Liga 2, Real Mallorca. And their first game is at home. It's a week on Sunday, the 13th of September, 4 o'clock kickoff against Rayo Vallecano. They are a team that finished 7th last year in La Liga, just outside the promotion playoffs. So that'll be an interesting game. Looking forward to that. And then really, really interestingly, is the first away game against Espanyol, managed by former manager Vicente Moreno.
I love this fixture, Richard. I mean, we spoke about it on the radio yesterday, didn't we? I mean, football fixtures when they come out, you know, it's like Christmas, isn't it, when they've come out to see you've got when you've got. And the fact that the first home away match for Real Mallorca is against Espanyol, who stole their manager, let's face it, stole the manager.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it will be interesting because Moreno will be wanting not to lose. Mallorca, hopeless away last year, weren't they? Totally hopeless. Away. You know, will be looking to maybe, we said last week, don't lose your first away match, isn't it? Get a point or anything. So it's a really tasty match, Rich. Do you know what I reckon? I reckon Mallorca might nick that one. I really do, because I just think it's written in the stars.
Listen, you know, I still say the jury's out on the new manager, but, you know, at the moment, can't fault them away. They've been in Murcia doing a bit of pre-season. They lost the first game against Levante, which, you know, team from La Liga, probably to be expected. Lost by 2-1, but they've just played two teams that are in the same league, Tenerife and Castellón, and they've won by 2-0 in both games. Not many chances in both games, really, but, you know, 2 clean sheets, which is really, really important, you know, moving forward. And, you know, he's mixing the players in and out of the team. You know, he's got a squad there of about 27, 28, I think it is. He seems to be mixing it about a bit just to see, you know, to come up with a formation in readiness for the first game on the 13th. But I think what's interesting, they've got another game against Lugo this coming weekend. But the 3 players that we talked about last week are Valiant, Budimir, there's another one who's just gone off somewhere. One of the other fringe players has just gone off for his country as well, who won't be in the squad this weekend. So they're away in international duty. And there still seems to be some sort of movement around Budimir. He hasn't played these last 2 games. If he's fit enough to go for his country, why hasn't he played at least one of the games? He's been on the bench.
I've got a feeling he's going to go, mate. I really do. I was looking at it.
I think so. But you think that right now, that if he hasn't played any of the games, he hasn't been on from the start, that there's a bid or they're trying to get the bid up. Do you know what I mean? From whoever. It hasn't been.
I've got a feeling that we spoke about last week. I was looking at it. He hasn't played. It doesn't look like he's been involved at all. He's on international duty. There's a buzz about him. I smell a big transfer.
Yeah, I think so. The Trofeo, they call it the Trofeo Ciutat de Palma, basically the Palma Cup, is a traditional sort of beginning of season game that Mallorca play against an invited team. It's been cancelled because of COVID. And of course, there's no fans, because what normally happens, they introduce the brand new squad to the fans. No fans. COVID, you know, it's not allowing fans in anyway. So they've basically cancelled it, which is not a surprise, really, to be perfectly honest. Gives the team a chance to sort of just keep carrying on with the pre-season and looking forward to the game on the 13th as well. So that's good. And then 11,000 season ticket holders now. They've obviously released them to the open public now. All the renewals for the season ticket holders from last year's, that's now passed. And we're up to 11,000, which is, you know, pretty pleasing, I think. Hopefully, you know, over the next couple of weeks, those numbers will go up. And then we'll see when we're going to get invited back into the stadium to see a home game.
We want it, don't we? I mean, I'm going to get a AUD season ticket this year, mate, because I think there's going to be some good, some really good games out there as well. I think it's cost effective as well. But, you know, I just want to know when we can go back, Rich. I'm itching to get back in the football stadium and get that.
Tell me about it. Now, one thing I would say to those people that are, you know, erring on the side of caution whether they should buy a ticket or not right now, just remember that, you know, Mallorca look like they're going to be one of the favourites to go up, whether they go up automatically or through the playoffs. It could be a good investment, you know what I mean, to actually get yourself a ticket, and then you'll get first dibs next year. if they get promoted to La Liga. You know, there was a lot of people kicking off last year. They couldn't get a ticket for love nor money. The reason why is because they didn't follow them outside of La Liga. You know, glory hunters, I think, as we call them normally.
Yeah. I mean, we had the same thing last year with you guys because you couldn't get tickets for the big games, and you know it was worth getting a season ticket with Real Mallorca last year just for the 3 or 4 big games, Richie, wasn't it? Because to buy tickets on the open market would cost more than a season ticket. However, there's an important point here, which I think you bring up as well. You must support your local club, and if you're going to spend that money, spend it in that direction. You know, because you know they need our support, one for the actual game itself, and secondly, they need our support financially, because we're not talking lots of money, Richie, are we? How much was a Real Mallorca season?
Well, at the moment, we've only had to pay 25%, so I've had to pay 50 quid. So, you know, my ticket's going to cost me 200, depending on when we get back into the stadium. Yeah. And the boys is going to cost me 75 each. So, you know, it's not a huge amount of money.
350 euros for the 3 of you, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, come on, mate. I think I paid 300 and something euros for a ticket to see Real Madrid for one game, you know. So that gets you 20 games in the season. It's got to be good value for money, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about Segunda B, and Martin's going to give you a really detailed insight into how Segunda B is going to work next year.
I thought on our WhatsApp conversation, I put that one to you, because now my little brain read it 4 times, and I still haven't got a clue. You know, in fact,
me neither.
It's taken me 6 years to understand the playoffs in the Segunda B, actually. So I've only just now understood the playoffs. I kind of got it wrong this year. So I have got no idea. I was looking on the UD website yesterday, and they were trying to explain to me as well. But even now, I've got no idea. We've got 102 clubs, I think, haven't we? 102?
Yeah,
we've got 102 clubs in 5 different groups. And then those 5 different groups have subgroups. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I leave you.
Well, yeah. There's 3 groups of 10 subgroups, and main groups, and 2 groups of 11 teams, and then there's 2 subgroups of 11 teams, and then 8 subgroups of 10 teams. And what is really, really confusing is that both UD Ibiza and Peña aren't in the same league as Atlético Balear and UD Poblense, which I just can't fathom whatsoever. And
also, not okay. We're disappointed because we haven't got the Mallorca Ibiza derbies, which is what I think we were both looking forward to, weren't we? After going to the Atleti and the UD Ibiza game last year, and that little bit of spark there. So we're disappointed on that. Now, Ibiza in subgroup B, but they won their league, or they came second in their league. So it's obviously got nothing to do with where they finish. So I just want someone to explain to me why they've done it like this, and why they don't just have 4 leagues of 25 like we had before. The top ones play off, and that's it. So, you know, as we mentioned before, are they trying to make it more competitive? I don't really know, but I'm sure it'll come out in the wash, Richie, and we'll see some football. But until then...
Well, yeah, so basically you're going to play 18 games.
Please scratching my head, by the way, Rich. You know.
18 games you're going to play, and then my understanding is that the top 3 teams will then move on to the so-called playoffs. So if you say top 3, there's 10 subgroups, so that's 30 teams will go into the playoffs, and then they'll be grouped. I don't know how, and it's all going to get very confusing. I think we'll wait till we get to that stage, Mark, and then we'll sort of see.
I mean, I don't like it, Richie. I've got to say, my gut feeling is I don't.
Me neither.
Yeah, because it's too complicated.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if you disengage the client, which is me and you, listen. I think me and you know a lot about football, by the way. You probably know slightly less than me. I mean, more than me. So I like to think we know a lot about football. I haven't got a clue what's going on, Rich. Yeah, and I'm a fan of UD Ibiza, and I like Peña as well, because obviously I know the trainers down there. But when you kind of disenfranchise the fan, which is us, I think you're asking for trouble. And I don't like it, and I hope it becomes clearer as the weeks go on.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Listen, Atlético Balear have released their kit. We talked about Udi Ibiza's kit last year. They've released their kit. Slightly more stripes. They're normally a blue and white stripe with a blue sleeve. They've just put more stripes. So I don't know if you say the stripes are narrower, or I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, it's blue and white stripes. It's newly released, and they are having a big campaign on season tickets as well. In fact, I would say out of all the websites I've looked at so far, Atlético Balear has probably got one of the best English websites. It's very, very good. It's very detailed, and I'm going to find out if they've got actually someone English working there, because it looks like they have.
Well, UD Ibiza have got a really good English social media setup, which they really engage people as well. But did you see the video of the chairman from Atlético Balear? Did you see his video that he did, Rich? I thought
it was quite good, actually.
Really good again. My dream, your dream. Okay, a lot of the normal cliches there, but he's obviously a very passionate football man, isn't he? And he came out with some good stuff. Over the last 4 seasons, I think they've qualified 3 times for playoffs. They've been in the top 5 every season. I think they've lost twice in the playoff finals as well, haven't they? So they're, again, a bit like UD. I think they're going to be the guys there that are really going for it. However, we won't know because they're not in the same league.
No, it's so annoying. But anyway, we'll have to sort of make a commitment that one of us comes over here and one of us goes over there to have a look at a couple of games.
Our love affair won't be ruined by water, Rich. We'll spend some time together, mate. Don't worry.
Good, you pick me up in that boat, Mark. Not much doing in the winter.
Good ballast, Rich. You'd be good ballast, mate.
Yeah, there you go. You see, I'm good for ballast. Tell me about this. They've got signed a new goalkeeper, haven't they, Udi?
Yeah, Kellyan Garcia's come in from Malaga. I think he's from Malaga, isn't he, mate?
Malaga. Malaga, yeah.
He looks like a young
22-year-old.
22, yeah. He looks like a young lad. Last year, they alternated between the 2 keepers, Herman and Lucas Anaka. Lucas has gone, so Herman and Kellyan Garcia now. Young lad, 22 years of age. So let's see what they do with them, whether they're going to alternate between the 2 or actually Herman gets the nod, or maybe Kellyan gets a nod. I like the name, mate, don't you? Kellyan, that's nice. I used to go out with a girl called Kellyan when I was.
Yeah, one of many. Anyway,
I like the name. Also, what's interesting with UD as well this week? We spoke about the merry-go-round of transfers last week, Richie, didn't we? Soriano, who's their sporting director, who worked very closely with Amadeo Salva, who is the owner of the club, the ex-president of Valencia. Soriano this week has said that this is just the tip of the iceberg. He's expecting about another between 5 and 7 signings to come in. So it's very clear that this is just the start.
Good. And Peña have brought a couple in as well.
Yeah. I saw today that they explained today that they bought someone in, which, let's have a look. Who was it today?
And Antonio Lopez.
Lopez has come in. Also, in the week they got Nico Canessa as well, who come from Betis. I mean, he's only a 19-year-old lad, so I'm not sure whether he's going to be in the first team. I know he's very well thought of, but Lopez seems to be a bit of a. He's coming from Leonessa, so things are happening, Rich, aren't they? So I think both Peña and Udi will line up very differently of how they finished last year as well. So I think it's only just started. We mentioned it before with UD. I think they're gonna have a brand new side this year when they come in there, and I think Peña will be half and half as last year, half new. But I think UD will be brand new.
And then let's move to local football quickly. I keep saying it every week. My boys starting next week. We're starting next week, and I'll be doing it about 4 weeks now. We've been given assurances that next week is definitely happening for the Cadettis at San Francisco. They're going to start Tuesday, Thursday next week to begin with. Obviously, lots of protocols. Masks to be worn, not during training, but masks to be worn when they arrive. They have to come fully clothed, ready in their gear to start training. No dressing rooms open. Socially distanced, just physical training, non-contact training, basically, to begin with. And then on the 14th, the Alavines, let's start on the 7th. Infantilis will start on the 14th, Alavins, Benjamins, and Primamins will start on the 21st. So my youngest will start on the 21st. I've noticed actually, because obviously we're following quite a lot of clubs on our social media, but quite a lot are actually now taking inscriptions, which they hadn't done before, starting to sort of move a little bit, which is good news, because I think the leagues are going to start around about the beginning of October in local football.
Yeah, no, same here. It's exactly the same over here, Rich. You know, I think it's Balearic wide, isn't it? My youngest lad, Danny's playing twice a week, or training twice a week at the moment. Again, non-contact, but he's a goalkeeper, so he doesn't usually come into contact with many people anyway. So, it's good. The kids are back. A little word from my local club. Obviously, Daniel, my son, plays for Portmanny, SD Portmanny, which are in the Tefera. So the hello, mate. You're back again, are you? Good.
Yes, I don't know what happened there. I just sort of disappeared. I
thought you had gone for a drink or a little.
By mate was like Mr. Ben, is it like the shopkeeper?
Little lie down there. SD Portmanny's the San Antonio side, who were in Tefera last year. They got lucky, by the way, because it looked like they were a shoo-in to go down last year. And obviously the league got called off and there was no relegation and no promotion. So they're back in Tefera this year. They're 97 years old today, Rich.
Oh, wow. Very good.
Similar age to you. So 97.
Thank you.
Welcome, mate. 97 today. So happy birthday to Portmanny, my local side. And I think we'll have some news in the next 7 to 10 days exactly when that will start.
Good stuff. So let's see if you do have any news about your local team. You want us to give it a bit of a kick for you. Then we're happy to do that. Just to get in touch with the normal place you can find us. All our details are online, of course, and through our social media. Follow us all on our social media. Kicking the Balearics on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter, of course. The podcast goes out when Martin decides he wants to put it out. Really, he plays around every week. To decide. Yeah, to keep everybody on the toes.
I noticed we had a spike in views last week, Richie, as well. So
we did.
Yeah, we had a
massive, good news.
It went from 15 to 50. So I think
we're motoring.
Rocking, mate. We're just waiting to be syndicated, mate, aren't we?
We wait for the sponsorship to come in, and also don't forget you can now catch us on Spotify. You can get us on Apple iTunes and all your smart speakers, of course, too now, and through SoundCloud. The podcast will come out tomorrow. So if you can't watch it, you can hear it.
Can I get it on my old wireless as well, Richard? Can I just plug it in and get it?
Wireless is a bit more difficult, Mark. To be perfectly honest, you need to be into the 21st century. You could back in the day when you were playing football, struggling at centre half. Back in your day, but anyway, you're not now, unfortunately. But there you go. We're back on Tuesday. Myself and Mark, we're back on the radio Tuesday. Of course, you can catch us on the Radio 1 Breakfast Show on Tuesday morning, and we'll be back next Wednesday. We're back again, I suppose, yeah.
We are, mate. Yeah, looking forward to next one. Always a pleasure, Richie. This was a kick in the Balearics.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.